Excellent. Well, thank you very much for having me. I'm absolutely honored to be here. I know that we picked up a pretty good steam of audience with some of the other workshops that we've done. So, what we wanted to do here with this topic, because it's so uh, seems to be convoluted and people have so many questions about it, is I really wanted to break it down as simple as possible, just because it can get out of hand really quickly. So that being said, and getting started, we want to know, what is SEO, right? We know that SEO stands for search engine optimization, but what does that even mean? And basically, what it boils down to, it's a set of practices aimed at improving a website's visibility and ranking in the search results whenever people search for your products or your services, or if you're a subject matter expert or an information expert on specific topics. And we want to be found, because being found gets us more business or inquiries or phone calls. I mean, if you're not being found, you don't exist, right? So this is the whole premise for really making improvements in our own websites, optimizing our websites for that visibility and for the ranking. So what is SEO? There are actually three types of SEO, right? You came here to learn about one of what you think it may be, but there are actually three different types of SEO. You don't need to know everything about all of these, but it's important to know that they're there. And then as you move forward in your own SEO venture for your website or business or whatever it may be that you're looking for, then you have a better understanding and you know how to navigate forward and make better decisions. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is technical SEO. Technical SEO are the set of rules that guide on how to adjust your website's infrastructure so that search engine crawlers can access and index your website. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you here. Technical SEO should typically be done by your web design or web developer, or even by the hosting. So most of that should be taken care of. However, we're going to go into just a little bit deeper on that as we move forward, because there are some things that you need to know, so that way you can have, if you're having the conversation with your web developer or hosting, you can say, have these things been done? Or are all of these taken care of? That way, going forward, when you get into your on-page and off-page SEO, that all of that's done, the foundation has been built. Now we can work on building the house, right? So the second thing is on-page SEO. On-page SEO gives search engines the right signals through your content and the keywords that are in the content about what your website is about, who you're about, what you want to be found for, how to be rewarded. So on-page SEO is probably going to be one of the main focuses. And there are a few things to that before we can even get into the main details of on-page SEO. Off-page SEO, basically the way we defined it is having references backlink from other authority and relevant websites back to our website, right? Links in SEO act as votes of trust. So Google sees how many votes of trust that you have, and that's how we build page authority. That's how we build trust with Google, that we are a real website with real information, and they can trust that we're not spamming or trying to do anything that is that goes against what Google gives for its search results. Okay. So really quick, let's jump, and I'm going to come back to what we just talked about, but we need to understand how the search engines work in order for all of this for us to have the better understanding of how this is going to work for us moving forward. So in order to get to the point that your website or a website is found in the search results, a search engine has to crawl it and index it before it can be ranked, right? So knowing these rules for SEO on page and off page play a major role in what we're going to try to do. So in order for those search engines to crawl, right, we're going to get into what's called robots.txt, right? So when that page is found, the search engine looks in a folder, the root folder of the website, and it finds, it's looking for a file called robots.txt. Can it not be there? Yes. So it's important that it is there. It's gonna find out what pages it has permission to read or not read, because you can tell it not to read certain pages, and then to also index, right? So the search engines will begin to crawl the homepage first, and discover and explore the internal or external links for other pages. Because sometimes we link to our internal pages, and sometimes we have links that take someone somewhere else that we're telling them to get more information or to find something they need. So along with the robots.txt file, there's usually an XML sitemap that lists all of the pages for the search engine to read. So when I say a sitemap, it'll say like home, about us, services, and any pages within that. And you can imagine a picture, right, with all of these different pages. And that's what this file does. So between the two, the robots and the sitemap, it tells the search engines everything that we want it to find, where to keep looking, and everything that's coming in. And I know that we're moving kind of fast, so if you do have questions, feel free to drop those in the chat. But I think as we circle back and continue, that it'll make a little more sense for you. So indexing. When indexing, search engines will extract specific information from all the pages and store it. Imagine you're reading the summary of a book. You're reading it for the very first time, and you're trying to determine whether or not you want to read the book, if it's interesting to you. You're going to read that summary, and you're going to pick up specific things and go, oh yeah, and you're going to make a determination. I do want to read this book based on specific things, but not everything. So that's kind of the same thing with indexing, okay? So many things known to be extracted, such as the page title, the description of the page, the type of content, associated keywords, number of internal links, external links, the images, the videos, the number of the same keywords, and even the relevant keywords. Search engines don't store a web page's content in their index. They store the information specific to the ranking process, okay? And as we move forward, we need to, before we even get into making adjustments to our pages, we need to know what keywords we need to be found for, okay? So keywords that you want your website to rank for must be determined before any SEO begins. Most prospects use a search engine to find what they're looking for. What they type into search is considered to be the keyword or keyword phrase, right? So we all pick up our phones when we need something. If we're looking for a restaurant, we may type in, you know, Thai food near me, or you may be looking for a plumber or a painter, right? But those are the keywords that we're typing in because it makes sense to us. So as business owners, we need to keep the prospect in mind and go, how is everyone searching for these things, right? So that's how we get an idea of what the keywords are, and that's going to be the initial basis to where we start our research. So keywords help us understand what the user's interests are, right? Because of how they're searching, what they're typing in, even the geolocation, everything about it. It's our job to provide the content that satisfies their desire. So Google's job is to provide the most relevant and the best, most trusted content as a result of the search that's being done. That's Google's job. So our job is to provide that content. We need to know what our user's intent is so we can provide the best content that's going to satisfy what they're looking for. SEO keywords and search. Determine the best keyword prospects are searching for. Okay, so tell us how often keyword is searched, what's the SEO competitiveness for that keyword, and other search terms related to that particular keyword, right? So there are various keyword search tools that you can use. Some are free and some are paid. But knowing this information is going to help us make that list of which keywords are possible in this scenario. even if it's not the specific keyword that we think that people are looking for. Okay, so keywords help us understand. Did I go backwards? I did. So there are three elements to keep in mind: the relevance of the keyword, the relevance to your specific topic, the authority, and the volume. So the relevance, Google's job is to provide the most relevant to the search, the most relevant results to the search. The authority is Google will provide more weight to sources it deems authoritative. And what that means is if your content matches the keyword that somebody is searching and Google trusts your website, Google trusts everything about it, then you're considered an authority, right? So that's how our information, how our website shows up in the search results, because it's authoritative. So we need to keep all this in mind when we're doing our keyword research. And finally, the most important thing is volume. There's been times when I found a keyword and went, wow, this is perfect, right? But when I looked and saw that there was only 20 people per month that was searching for it, I mean, that's a game changer. So then I got to go, okay, I got the wrong keyword. Apparently people are looking for things differently, and I need to kind of redo what I'm thinking. And all keyword volume, depending on keywords and niches and everything that you're into, they're all going to be different. And there's going to be keywords that have thousands of searches per month, and there's going to be some keywords that have very little. So it's the more you go down that path, you're going to learn which one's better for you and in which scenario. So how to research keywords. Step one, make a list of important, relevant topics based on what you know about your business. So it's really easy that if I'm a landscaper, that I'm going to say, well, my keyword is landscaping. Okay, so then what you do is you make the list of important, relevant topics. Fill in those topic buckets with the keywords. Write down all the keywords you can think of. Okay, understand how intent affects your keyword research and analyze it accordingly. In other words, as you're reading these things, put yourself in the position of the prospect and what they're possibly thinking when they're doing these searches, because that intent is going to make a determination for you what kind of content, and then also ancillary keywords that align with those, and looking at that search volume to make sure that there's good volume. And then finally, step 4 is research related search terms, which are those ancillary keywords. Do those related keywords, because you're going to find that the majority of people that are in your particular category niche are, you're going to have a lot of competition. So when you have these other ancillary keywords that are related, highly related, you're not going to have as much competition, but you're still going to have a lot of volume. People are still searching. Okay, so it's super important to be able to recognize that there are other keywords that are going to give you a better chance of ranking, instead of just jumping into the mainstream of everything. Sometimes a keyword is difficult to rank for due to the competitiveness of other SEOs and just the nature of the business. In this case, it may be better to discover the ancillary keywords that are relevant. So I kind of got ahead of myself, but it's important to hear that a number of times, because it's super, super important to be able to identify those other keywords that are going to give you good search volume and low competition. And you'll find sometimes there's a gem sitting there that is perfect, and you're going to get good results from it. Characteristics of high-ranking websites. So the best characteristics of high-ranking websites are websites that have content that satisfies the intent of the user. How many times have you done your own search and you land on something and they go, oh, that's exactly what I'm looking for? And that's what we're talking about here, right? You want to match that intent. You want it to be free of the technical SEO errors. So in other words, the indexing for the sitemap and the other files that need to be intact, the technical foundation that is built for all of your website, right? So the high-ranking websites have those covered. High-ranking websites demonstrate high levels of EAT, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. Google loves your site, right? High-ranking websites exhibit, they usually have references by other websites that also demonstrate expertise, authoritativeness, and worthiness, right? So in other words, if you have a profile on Alignable, and in that you have your website listed, then that is a link back to your website from Alignable, which is authority, trustworthy, and they are an expertise on what they do, right? And so we have a link coming back from Alignable. That's a super good link. And so that's just a sample of what we're talking about when you have other websites linking back to yours. And finally, you want your website to load fast. How many times have you done your own search for something and the site, you're just sitting there waiting and waiting, going, I really want to know this information, but I'm not waiting 3 minutes, 2 minutes, some people's 30 seconds, right? So your website has to load fast. And yes, it is a ranking factor. If your website is constantly landing low, people are hopping off, Google sees it, they're going to ding you. So it needs to load fast. It needs to be mobile friendly. It needs to work on all devices, and it needs to have ease of use for navigation and for them to find what they're looking for.